So I'll be sharing something inspired by Natalie Marie Hebert. She talks a lot about PMDD, which is like premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It's like a kind of, instead of euphoria, it's dysphoria, which is like things seem dark and bad before the period. But what she says is that the triggers are actually underlying issues, and we can work through them and use the time to look at what the feelings are and actually get deeper. It starts a new cycle. The emotions are presented in a very raw way to work with, rather than maybe other points of a cycle. Which may have feelings about feelings. So some of the thoughts and triggers to work through, and I wrote these down because I feel like definitely there's moments I could relate, but also things I want to look more into. And I did this about 5 years ago, but I think it's still just as important. So first of all, beliefs like I'm helpless, I'm unlovable, I'm unattractive, I'm worthless, I'm unrespectable, I'm unimportant, I'm inadequate, I'm inherently defective or flawed. If anyone gets close enough, they'll reject me. I don't have value, I'm not enough. Nobody's interested in me, I don't deserve X, whatever X is. And then the next layer, which is like when we have feelings about feelings, these are Natalie Marie Hebert actually helps people with very extreme cases, in a natural way. So if somebody's really, really struggling with this, you can find her on the internet. So anyway, feelings about feelings. So feeling punished or shame when things don't go our way. So not only are we frustrated or feeling dissatisfied, but then we feel punished or shame. Then I wrote running to food when I feel abandoned. So it could be by God, by others, by the system. So not only do we feel the grief, or we feel exposed, like vulnerable, or we feel whatever it was, unlovable, worthless, whatever, but then we also feel like panic, anxiety, pressure. The final one is when I let too much of my well-being depend on something flimsy. So not only is there insecurity, uncertainty, unreliability, not able to depend on it, but then there's also like the betrayal, the disappointment, the hopeless, all of that comes on top. The next thing I want to share here is recreating trauma. So it's like the trapped feelings. I was learning a lot in various programs or modalities, disciplines. And the best way really to release stuck energy, or the or difficulties in processing the information of something that happened, is to recreate it, like go through it again, even though this time it's not actually happening. And it does wonders for the downloading that it's in the past, it's not actually happening anymore. So things like, we say things like, let me out, get off. And so I wrote down some things that at that time, maybe 5 years ago, I was releasing things that I never got to complete. One was, there was a man who assaulted me on Eastern Parkway in Troy, which was in a neighborhood I lived in when I was growing up. I actually physically imagined like beating him up. I didn't actually do it, but I did punching motions in the air and kicking. Another one was my mother squishing me with all her body weight when she was trying to like hold me down so I wouldn't act out in a way she felt I shouldn't. So the recreating was to be screaming, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Another was to be restrained, humiliated, or abused. I'm thinking of specifically, there was this like fake doctor, Jewish man my mother hired. So that's like fighting it off. It's like you actually start fighting them off. Another one was I used to get locked in the bathroom. My parents didn't feel that I felt punished when I was locked in my bedroom, we had locks on the outside of the rooms. You couldn't lock yourself in. You could only be locked in as a punishment. So locked in the bathroom, it was bedroom, bathroom. The reason I was locked in the bathroom is because they felt like I wasn't getting punished in my room. I was enjoying the time alone. No one could bother me. So this is something called kind of destruction energy, where he's like, it's like screaming, and you let out the scream. Another one is I believed someone with a red beard snuck into my window, but it could have been my father. That's like a mixed feeling. So like I was convinced that the beard was red and that they taught us in school to watch out for a man who was kidnapping kids on Kingston. But my father, I felt like my father might have been like, there was a time every evening, there's special prayers you say at night. I felt like my father might have been inappropriate while he was in my bedroom with me. He might have been touching himself in an inappropriate way or acting in an inappropriate way. And I also remember once that my mother, when I was a little baby, when I was a little kid becoming potty trained, used to like to see my poop, and it made me uncomfortable. I felt like it was for me. And then also my mother had told me there was once a worm I got when I was in a school, and my mother asked me to show my father, and he acted like it didn't matter, like it didn't exist. And so what was a way that I would deal with it as a kid? I would trap the ants in Lego. I would like treat them like they were me. Like, you can't get away, you have no control, you're stuck. In all these situations. So to recreate these situations, is to have privacy, to give myself closed, like to recreate it is to be able to shut the door and not let anyone else in. Or like have the bathroom door, my bedroom door closed. And this is really great practices. I recommend you try, and I wish you a beautiful evening. I'm recording this very late at night, but it's important to me to do this every day. So there you have it. Bye.